Patch 735 has finally arrived, turning World of Warcraft into a scaling world, and bringing about some of the most significant changes to leveling the game has ever experienced. And so far, I'd have to say that these changes have been met with nothing but praise from the WoW community.
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
No, seriously, it was more like... Now, unless you've been living under a rock, or you just haven't been playing WoW lately, you probably know all about the changes that happened to leveling in 7.3.5. But for those of you who don't, basically, Blizzard gave all of the game the Legion leveling treatment. The zones, the mobs, and the quests now scale to your level, which means that you can pretty much level anywhere you want, for as long as you want, whenever you want. No more entering a zone and suddenly out-leveling it after completing just a handful of quests. This actually gives us incentive to stay in a zone and do all of the quests before moving on, seriously cutting down on travel time. They even added that little story quest tracker thingy on the map in each zone, like the zones in Legion, so you can keep track of where you are in the quest for that zone. And if that wasn't enough, they even stacked expansions, meaning at level 60, you can choose between going to Outlands or Northrend. At level 80, you choose between Pandaria and Cataclysm, and at 90, you then go to Warlords and then Legion. This bit was especially exciting for me because of a certain video I made a couple years back. So imagine it like this. You start off at level 1 and you go through Old World all the way to level 58. Actually, let's dial that back to level 55 because it's more aesthetically pleasing. Now at level 55, you have a choice. Do you want to go battle the Burning Legion in Outlands, or do you want to go to Northrend and take on the Scourge? This effectively shortens the leveling distance and gives players a choice. So from level 55 to 65, you can either do Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King. And now you have another choice. Do you want to go back to Old World and take on Deathwing, or do you want to go to Pandaria and help out the Pandaren? Now you're level 70 and you move on to Draenor. And as time goes on and more expansions are added, you can continue the process. Okay, so it's not exactly everything I said, but still pretty cool, huh? And to top it off, they even gave dungeons the same scaling treatment. All welcome changes, giving the leveling experience a much needed improvement. And along with those changes, enemies' health pools were increased, making them take more than 2 hits to kill, and heirloom stats were nerfed. The bonus XP from Recruit a Friend has been significantly reduced, dungeons are somewhat more difficult, and the amount of XP overall needed for characters to level up has been increased, making for a much more difficult and much more time-consuming leveling experience. So, as with anything else, there are people that like these changes, and there are people that hate these changes. There is a wide spectrum of opinions when it comes to leveling in World of Warcraft. But I think I can break it down into 3 main categories. The first are people who simply enjoy leveling. For them, it's not about rushing the cap, it's about the journey, because they get just as much, if not more, out of leveling than they do from endgame. They likely have a number of alts at level cap, and that's more of a testament to how much they actually do enjoy leveling. The second category are people who are the exact opposite. They absolutely despise leveling. They usually think of leveling as a complete waste of time and would rather not do it at all. If they do have an alt at level cap, it's because they really wanted that alt. No amount of leveling changes would truly please these people unless leveling was completely removed from the gaming experience, or at the very least incredibly sped up, but they'll still think of it as a waste of time. And I can see you now pointing at the character boost in the shop, and yes, that is a solution for some. But a lot of them do not want to fork over the necessary funds, and I can't really say that I blame them. But then you might point to the WoW token. Spend some gold on a few WoW tokens and bam, you have your character boost. Which is a really good idea, but unfortunately there are also those who do not want to hassle with earning gold. So they don't want to take the time to level up a character, and they don't want to take the time to earn gold. And you might be asking, why exactly are these people playing the game anyways? Good question. Honestly, couldn't really tell you. I'm sure it has something to do with EP or item level, something, I don't know. And then you've got people who are somewhere in the middle. They don't really mind leveling, it's just that it's not really as much fun the second time through. So they feel like leveling alts should be significantly faster so they can quickly get them to endgame where all the real fun is. And in their defense, the game is heavily designed around the endgame, and it has been for quite a while now. So how exactly do you design a leveling experience to please everyone? for those who really enjoy it, for those who want absolutely nothing to do with it, and for those who don't mind it but still want to rush to endgame as quickly as possible. Well, to be truthful, I don't believe you can please everyone. As a developer, it is simply your job to make the best game you possibly can, and to ensure that every aspect of that game reaches your standards. And if you care at all about that game and its players, those standards should be very high. I think we can all agree, even if some of us did prefer it, that the leveling experience before 7.3.5 was a bit too blazingly brain dead to be considered quality gameplay. It was in desperate need of change, and for the most part, 7.3.5's changes were exactly what the leveling system needed. It provides more of a challenge, it allows players to have more options in terms of where they want to go in the world, and the pace and flow is much better. There is simply less travel time and more time devoted to fighting and questing. And overall, the time it actually takes to level up isn't nearly as slow as some would have you think. But for those who just want to get a character to endgame as quickly as possible, having a slower leveling system is not desirable. And you can't really blame them for wanting that either, because the game has been consistently designed around endgame for many years now. With each new expansion, the level cap increases, making the whole leveling experience that much more daunting. When Battle for Azeroth comes out, the level cap will be 120. That is double the original vanilla level 60 cap. And you could probably argue that getting to level 120 today will be much faster than getting to level 60 back in vanilla. But still, on paper, 120 is a lot more daunting than 60. Which makes the leveling experience feel like it's taking longer. And the higher the level cap goes, the more this is going to be a problem. Imagine how a new player is going to feel when they're told that they have to get to level 200 to join their friends at the endgame, where all the real fun is happening. And if the game is going to be designed around endgame, and leveling is treated as this segmented part that you just have to get through to get to where all the fun is, then why have it in your game at all? If the solution is just to speed up the process so that we can get to where the fun is, then why have it in the game at all? While the leveling experience itself has been improved on, the game's overall treatment of leveling is still a problem. There is so much of a disconnect between the leveling portion of the game and the end game that it makes the leveling portion feel rather pointless. If you're going to design a game around level cap and end game, then leveling needs to synergize with end game. For example, in a game like Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, there are a number of things that you can do while you're leveling up that'll impact your character even when you're at endgame. There are story quests that you have to go through, there are quests to actually unlock different parts of the game itself, there are these public events which are called fates and repeatable quests that give you currency along with experience and money that is just as much important at the end of the game as it is when you get it. So you constantly feel like everything you do matters. In WoW, leveling is just leveling, and nothing you do is going to have an impact on your character when you're done leveling, and that, I think, is a big part of the problem. That's why it feels like a waste of time. Imagine if the quests and dungeons you do while leveling up give you like badges of valor or something, and then when you reach level cap, there's a vendor that allows you to buy some gear that will catch you up to everybody else, and with each new patch you can buy new gear that is appropriate to get you started with whatever the current content is. This way, leveling is still leveling, it's not removed from the game, it's not unnecessary, and people that are doing it feel like they're doing something that has an impact later on. Along with that, freshen up the leveling experience overall. There needs to be more than just quests and dungeons for leveling. Throw in public events or world quests throughout the entire world that you can do from time to time. Kind of like how the Legion Invasion events are, but a little bit more often. Overall, as someone like myself who does enjoy leveling, I'm quite happy with the changes of 7.3.5, but I do see where some people who don't enjoy it as much are coming from. And while I don't really agree that speeding up the process is necessarily the answer, I do believe that the leveling experience still needs some more modern touches. Make it feel less segmented and synergize better with endgame, and more people might find it worthwhile. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. You can also subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter at TheKephas to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, this is TheKephas, until next time.